What could be more alluring than a true gentleman's tourer, a GT car, something that can cross continents in a single bound? What about a Genesis G80? Everything about this big Genesis is oversized, overdone. It's luxurious and it's powerful too. It comes in two models, Turbo 4, Turbo V6. This one drives all the wheels through the Hyundai Group's fantastic all-wheel drive system. And it has a coast function, and it's mated to a superb 8-speed automatic. There's not a lot of room under here. There's a bit of bracing to make the chassis just that little bit tighter, and it does definitely feel tighter. Fuel consumption on our trip hasn't been brilliant, but the second you get on the highway, it just extends magically. There's a complex light arrangement at the front for the LED lights, and some more just here. And it's the same around the back with this discreet all-wheel drive badge for the 3.5T. And there's a button just here. And it too has the little shield shape from the front grille, as do the exhausts. Inside, a massive boot. And it's got really cool things like a warning triangle and a roadside kit and a first aid kit. And really cleverly, they put the battery in here under the spare wheel, which is a full-size alloy spare. But the back seat passengers are truly spoiled. The wood that's throughout the cabin can be found here in the back, this beautiful open pore, real timber. There's one of these control wheels that you see in the front, and all of the controls for the power seats that go backwards and forwards, and the heating and cooling. There's also the power for the twin screens in the back. This Napa leather is probably not as soft as we're used to. And if you want, there's some privacy screens for the back. There's also one on the back windscreen, and that can be operated either from here or from in the front. But look how much leg room there is. There's got to be 30 centimeters or more. You've got a zone of climate control back here for the air conditioning and their own vents. As well, on the front seat, there are some buttons that you can power the seat backwards and forwards. And when you open any of the doors, if the seats are not in quite the right position for whatever door that's been opened, it slides back so that you can get in. There's a wireless Qi charger for your phone. I've got my cable in so I can use Apple CarPlay. There's a couple of cup holders with a lovely cover. And the parking and drive mode buttons. This controller controls the screens. It's real metal. It has this beautiful knurled feel. There's a touch panel here for the air conditioning and climate control, and some beautifully arranged buttons at the top for direct select, including favorites button. And above this, a screen that's a touch screen, and it's over 14 inches. The driver's display is 12 inches, as is the heads-up display. And that's projected onto the windscreen from this little device here that sits on the top of the dash. And this steering wheel is just a triumph. It's very Bentley-esque. This is 100 grand's worth of car. It's got the $13,000 luxury pack. If you want, you can pay another $2,000 for matte paint, and that's with 2 T's and an E. You put it into drive with this glass knurled knob. There's also an auto hold button here too. You know how much I love that. And that park button gives you a park function that you can even operate from your key fob. I've got it in comfort mode, and as we go along the road, you can feel the seat doing its thing. It's going looser and tighter to make sure I'm either held or kept comfortable or whatever. Let me just go to the menu. Handling on these quiet back roads is just superb. A lot of creeks around here. Also, sound from the cabin, very, very quiet. And the exhaust is enhanced. Hyundai engineers have gotten together and they've put a little bit of genuine fake artificial sound engineering in to make it sound that little bit better. Wow, this is really special. I bought lots of cars on this road, cars that cost an awful lot of money, that don't ride as beautifully as this does. Now this has some cameras up the front, and if it sees anything like that, it will change the suspension so that you're not jostled. Now I've got the seat set just so. They've got little bags inside them of air. It's trying to tell me I'm too close to the line. More about that later. And the bags of air are the things that give you a gentle massage or hold you in the side with the bolsters. I was talking about my fuel consumption before, which I didn't think was especially brilliant. It's showing me I've got 461 kilometres to go, but at the moment it's sitting on 11 litres per 100 kilometres, which I think is a bit rubbish. Nonetheless, this has got a 0 to 100 time of 5 seconds. 0 to 100 in 5 seconds for something that weighs this much. Just amazing. Now, you can see that I put my indicator on, and whichever side you indicate, the dial disappears and you get a little picture along the side of the car. It has active blind spot monitor, so if it sees something in the side, in my blind spot, won't let me change lanes. Now what I can do is turn on my active steering. And active steering is keeping me centered in the lane, and it's so clever that if the lane markings, say on one or even both sides of the car, disappear, allegedly it will simulate well, you're supposed to be keeping me in the lane, it's beeping. It will simulate a lane, or it'll follow the car in front, so you better hope the car in front's going where you want to go. You could be in all sorts of strife. While we're stuck behind someone going slow, I want to talk to you a little bit about the audio system. It's Lexicon, and there are speakers all over the cabin. The sound is concert hall sound. It is absolutely extraordinary. If you had this fancy sunroof and all-wheel drive and an 8-speed automatic in a European car, you'd be paying $150,000, $160,000. I'm not going to open it now because you won't be able to hit. Oh, actually, maybe I will open it. So you can see one glass panel slides backwards over the other. The opening's not all that big, but there is a wind guard. It doesn't seem to guard against much wind though. And if you want to close them both, you just pull the button forward and both the glass and the blind slide shut. You might notice that I've got my Navman plugged into the USB at the front. There's 2 USBs here. There's another power outlet here in the center console. There's a little conceal button here that opens up these trick flaps. Riding in this reminds me of one of those old luxury limousines from the 30s and the 40s, from the Art Deco period. There's little shades of Art Deco about this car. When luxury meant proper luxury and servants, flunkies in powdered wigs bringing you little bits of buttered cucumber sandwich. That's what this is. This is a Downton Abbey on wheels. The automatic brake has let go. Now I've got a brake. Jesus. Gosh. And we're at 110. That's mad. Absolutely mad. When I did that, the seat gripped me. And I'm just going to reach down here, and you can see as I touch the buttons on the seat, I'm just touching the surface of the buttons, and whichever one I'm touching comes up on the screen. So what I'm getting on my bum cheeks is like a really big cat doing the whole paw thing. And I've now got my cruise control active, so I can see on the windscreen in front of me that I've got my active steering switched on, my cruise control switched on, my lane control switched on, and that I'm doing 100 kilometers and 110 kilometers an hour, and the car's basically driving itself. And one of the safety things I haven't mentioned is the autonomous emergency braking, the AEB. Some cars don't recognise pedestrians. Some don't recognise bicycles. Some don't do it at night. But this car will. And it'll try and throw out the anchors to prevent an accident. It'll also stop you from doing that in reverse. So if you're reversing out your garage, you don't see your dustbin, this will stop you. There is something about this. I can tell that this car was probably designed without a touchscreen, because that's a very long way away, and if I want to use that, I've got to lean forward. You can use the dial down here, winding through it like I am. So if I'll try and get my CarPlay on again, there we go. So now I've now got my Apple map up. But the important thing I want you to take away from this highway segment is how quiet and easy and beautiful Genesis G80 is at high speed. A lot of these active features you really have to learn to trust, because trust letting a car drive for you is not inherent. It goes against everything we've ever been taught. But this instills trust into you. I've used a lot of these smart cruise control systems, and this one is just sensational. You can adjust the distance to the car in the front, as I said, but it'll also go down to 0. And when we get into the traffic, I'll show you exactly how that works. All these cars are getting out of the road. Okay. It's accelerating towards the car in front, which is a bit of a worry. Oh my God. No, it's seen it. It's slowing down. I did have my foot ready, slowing down. Oof. It was a bit hairy for a minute. I didn't think it was going to see it. It only started braking when I could see in the heads-up display that it had acquired the car in front, so it could see the car in front. Now they're moving off, and I just click the up button or the down button, and it takes off. The other thing is, and I just want to mention this quickly before we go, that the cancel and resume button is the same button. It's the up and down button, but you just press it. Some cars you've got to click something else to resume, and if you click that you'll change the speed, and it's just all too much effort. Now, because we weren't stopped for a certain amount of time, the car took off itself then. I really, really like this. It is beautiful. As always, if you've liked the film, hit like, leave a comment, and just there to subscribe.